Uh, Welcome to the Sean and Geek, the Sean Geek and Fast Fret podcast. Done.
Well done. Okay, we're going to use that. Wow, it's been a what do they call it? A hot minute?
Yes,
Last time we talked.
yes, it's been a hot minute. Well, we were just waiting for something awesome to come out.
Yeah, we were. Well, I had something awesome we could have done.
hmm
I watched Morbius.
Oh, yes. How was that?
Wasn't as bad as I expected.
See, that's our reaction too. I
Yeah,
was expecting like bottom of the barrel. Um, but it was actually it's very dated, I think. I feel like if it came
yes,
out like
yes.
earlier on, because I feel
You
like it's the
mentioned,
same.
yeah, you mentioned that
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
It felt like
yeah.
what would you say, like a 2000s movie or something?
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
would have fit in with, Spider-Man 3 even, like,
Mhm.
the dancing and whatnot. I feel like that would have fit right in there, but came on a little bit too late.
Yeah, it felt like Blade or Spawn or like movies of that era.
And now you understand the post-credit scene, right? Like
Yeah.
people's confusion. You're
Yeah.
like, where did this come from?
Well, it was
Why is he here?
so it almost was suggesting like from the third Spider-Man when everyone got shunted back
hmm
that he was shunted back as part of that whole thing, but he wasn't part of that whole thing
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
because he wasn't shunted in the first place.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a little
It was a weird way to connect that universe to, the Spider-Man world that we know.
yeah. So I don't know. It was I mean, but I honestly I actually enjoy I think I enjoyed like the acting
Yeah.
and everything. The visuals I mean, I don't have like a 4K TV or anything, but I felt the CGI and stuff like I thought it looked fine.
I mean, could it be better? Yes.
Oh, sure.
But it wasn't like, I didn't feel like it was like half-assed.
Okay,
But,
the reason I'm bringing it up because I just watched Incredible Hulk yesterday,
oh, okay.
and I was comparing the effects of the two, and
And you're like pretty close.
yeah, like well, the effects are probably maybe a little bit better in Morbius than
See,
Incredible Hulk.
it would have fit better around that time, right? Had it
Mhm.
come out around that time, it
Mhm.
wouldn't have gotten like so much hate. Because
Yeah,
it wasn't like I didn't feel as much hatred as I did in Venom or
yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984.
God. Do you think though, like when you were saying if it was released at a different time, do you mean like at the advent of when Marvel Studios was making the movies? Like
Yeah,
Iron Man, Thor, like all those?
yeah, because like when was the first Iron Man movie?
It was like 15 years ago? Is
Yeah,
that
so I feel like maybe it would have been fine 15 years ago because it was like newish.
Mhm.
Like I feel like, as time goes on, like the standards, everyone's standards are just so high
Yeah.
that it's there's a lot of pressure for studios to make good movies. And to some extent, you kind of want to hold them to some sort of standard because you have access to like a million things and technology has advanced, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like if it came out like a few years back, like no one would care. I think
It would have
people
been
would
good.
enjoy.
I mean, Spawn made a lot of money when it came out.
Yeah.
Daredevil made a lot of money when it came out.
Yeah. But like when you think about
No.
it, like the more serious ones, like Watchmen
Mhm.
didn't really get that much of a following, right? Legion came out like the TV show Legion came out like many years ago and it was too ahead of it, too serious or too contained that like, people were like not ready for that type of thing. So people were craving like the cheesiness and like the people love the cameos, and so
Yeah.
who cares if uh uh whatever if they're connecting like villains that didn't exist, because it would have been like, oh, he's appeared here, like the
It's random.
yeah, villain team up, it's gonna
Yep.
come, it's gonna happen, it'll show up in Spider-Man. So I feel like people would just be excited at the time, but now that you've seen so many superheroes and you've seen high quality stuff, like it's probably, I don't know, it's a mixture of that. Sometimes, because sometimes I expect a lot more, but then sometimes I also understand, like, well, it's like, releasing a comic book. Sometimes you just don't like the issue. Sometimes it's just not for you. Sometimes you hate it and you just, you read it and you put it away type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't have the appeal for a broad audience, but that doesn't mean like for a nerd like me, like I didn't enjoy it. Actually, I enjoyed it. Sylvie's like, is this the movie they were saying like was like horrible? I said, yeah. Okay. What were they watching? She said she actually really enjoyed it. And I don't know. I liked it. And I liked the practical effects, like his upturned nose and like when the way his fingers looked and stuff, like that was right for the comics. Like that was they really tried to make him look like the comics with the, I don't know, with vapor trails or whatever, like
yes
jumping, like all that
I
stuff.
kind of like the effect on that too.
I like that a lot.
I just felt like very short, I feel like a few minutes more, half an hour maybe, like would have told like a much more put together story, or I don't know if they had like bigger stakes or something. Maybe
they shot more, right?
Yeah,
obviously edited it down, so I don't know. I'd be extended to see interested in an extended or something, but I didn't dislike it. I mean, was it better than Venom 2? Yes, by far, but I did like Venom 1 because I expected it to be total shit.
Yeah. Well, and then with Venom 2, you have like I didn't hate Woody Harrelson as a casting for Carnage, but it was just like there was just nothing in there. I would put in the same category as the movies where they're trying to humanize the villain, and just like you're just pushing it here, like you have nothing, you're not going on, and just dragging it on here.
Yep. But I mean, they're taking some steps, and everybody keeps talking about that Craven footage. That you haven't seen a leak anywhere, have you?
No.
Me neither. But apparently it's amazing.
Just lots of talks, right? Lots of talks about that. But honestly, they set up future Spider-Man movies really well, that anything could happen.
Yeah.
Peter could have his own little adventures, could be a TV show. Like I think we mentioned before that this would be perfect for a TV show because there's so much to explore as Spider-Man, especially now that he's like kind of back to zero,
Actually, that would actually be a perfect time to, okay, well now because the movies, I always, and especially with the original trilogy, I felt that they were trying to cover too much ground in every movie.
Correct. That's
like we're only gonna make 3 of these, so let's just put everything in. Especially in the third one, they did throw everything in.
Right.
Because
you want to give the character a little bit of growth, a little bit of like suitless, some sort of adventure, but like you only have so much time in a movie. And in a TV show you can explore that more, and Spider-Man's one of those characters that have kind of a rich library, right? And there's so many stories to explore. Just being a kid, you can throw him back to in school again, being awkward in school, meeting new friends, since he has no friends right now.
It would be great. Like I like how like the Daredevil series, like the Netflix one, like they actually took the time to show the nuance, give
us law stuff, right? Like lawyer stuff. It's enough of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. The law stuff. That's exactly right.
Because you just know, because some of them, like I can't think of anyone right now, but it's like it's like, what does Batman actually do when he's not Batman type of thing?
Well, we don't have time. We only have 2 hours. We don't have time.
Right.
So we're not going to look at that part.
Yeah. We talked, I think we mentioned like this and X-Men would be very good TV series because there's just so much storyline to explore. But yeah, I'm curious to see where Marvel's gonna go with X-Men, when they're gonna just show up magically.
Oh boy, did you hear the latest rumors that seem to be confirmed, quote unquote confirmed?
No.
X-Men?
What about it?
Well, that's a good segue then.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
were the queen of segues. We
I
need
just sense these things, and like we should just like, and you should write these down, and then every time I
every
tick
time you
a
hit one.
box,
Yeah,
you'll
we
ding.
should. We
Yeah,
should.
press the bell. Yeah.
Ding ding ding.
Yeah.
You get a treat.
Yeah.
Help
Yeah.
yourself to an ice cream bar.
Yeah.
That would be good right now.
Yeah.
I'm having some, as I pointed out before we started recording, I'm having some 40 Creek Niagara whiskey. Oh, there it is. I might I also had a request too from one of our listeners. Why don't you guys put up the video? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. We just don't. Would you be okay if I put the videos up occasionally?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if we have like, products or something to feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
I gotta clean up my background here. It's kind of messy.
Yeah.
I'm
You gotta
actually
prepare for this.
yeah, we gotta prepare for this. I'm going to be moving my office again.
Okay.
So where I move it to, I'm gonna come up with something a little bit better instead of just a cluttered bookshelf behind me.
Yeah, I'm thinking of moving upstairs as well, and so
Oh, are you?
yeah, and that way, there's like just better space and better background, and then like cats running around in the back.
I'm gonna choose a virtual background right now. This is appropriate.
There we go.
There you go. That's not too bad. Then it hides the background. Yeah, we're thinking of I know this is not nerdy, this is not geeky, this is not geekery or whatever, but I'm thinking of giving this office to the kids and having the basement be their play area. And I was just gonna move upstairs. We're thinking of like changing our bedroom for the first time since we moved into the house. And I might have a little office up there.
Okay.
Writing nook or whatever, and just changing things around and giving them this spot, which would be great.
Cool.
But I don't know, just change of pace.
Yeah.
I've moved my work desk
Every so often.
8 times. I've had eight different work desks in this house. I don't know, why not? Like,
yeah, change it up.
Change it around. Why not?
Yeah. You do work at home, right?
I still work.
Yeah. See, makes sense. Only makes sense.
Yeah. And I changed from where I am right now, which is apparently on the far side of Earth, according to our background here, to the other side of the Earth, which is upstairs. Which is good, like if the kids are stay homesick or whatever. Like I don't want to be away or not hear anything from the basement and stuff. So I might move up there.
Yeah. Keep it fresh, different background.
keep it exciting. The basement is where I work out and where, I vent my frustrations with, slinging some iron around. So you keep it separate, I think, because it's probably sweaty smelling down here or something. Anyway, so on to the rumors that I've heard. Now, these rumors have been kind of floating around for a couple of weeks. These are not the Fantastic Four rumors, but these are the X-Men rumors. And as it relates to Deadpool. So there's a few things that have come around, and now some stuff's being corroborated by multiple sources. Now, I don't have sources. I just watch a hell of a lot of YouTube, and I have quite a few people I follow. Same as you. I know you're always, ooh, what's this? What's this? But the rumor is that, I think we talked about this last time, is that the TVA is going to be involved in Deadpool.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And he's going to be, and this has been corroborated a couple of times by a couple of different sources. So the TVA's involvement seems to be imminent in it. So what does that mean? Like, who from the TVA? Is it just going to be some no names from the TVA, or is it going to be Mobius?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Loki? Like, will it be? I don't know. It might be. But what they're indicating is that he's in violation and he's going to be sent to go fix things. But the violation happened in Deadpool 2, if you recall, at the end of the film, when he got Deadpool's time,
when he was like fixing the bad parts of X-Men
of Origins Wolverine.
yeah.
So the rumor is that that's what got him in shit with the TVA. So, so apparently there's a picture of Halle Berry sporting the white hair, the right haircut that got posted on Instagram recently. So people are kind of making connections, but they're saying that she is cast. She will be one of the. Now, how big a role? Who knows? Is it real? Who knows?
Right.
Now they're saying that James Marsden is cast as well, and so is Famke Janssen.
I'm pretty open to any of those.
Yeah.
But the thing with the old cast is like, I know they're not going to stick around. So how much of them will be there? Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and like we know that like it's not the other set of X-Men because that Phoenix movie was. I don't think we're gonna continue from there. So they're gonna have to have new people in the new X-Men. And I'm afraid to see a new Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because Hugh Jackman was pretty perfect for that.
He was pretty good. But I mean, they can't just I'm of two minds. They can't keep going back to the well with Hugh Jackman.
Correct.
Because I mean, come on. Like, I mean, in the DC movies, they cast Ben Affleck as an older Batman, and that's the way they went. So I mean, they could keep Hugh Jackman if they cast him as
an older Wolverine.
Yeah, he's 200 years old in this time.
Yeah.
Something, right? Like, because he ages slow. So
yeah.
So or something like that. But I mean,
well, there's lots of rumors on who they're kind of eyeing for this, and we've talked about this many times. Marvel hasn't really failed with the casting department.
Nope.
They've been pretty spot on with that. So
even the ones that I was like less okay with, they still worked out for me. Like the original casting was like Emily Blunt for Black Widow.
Yeah.
I was all over. But I have no problems with Scarlett Johansson at all. I think she made it her own.
Right.
And I think that this is like her spin on the character, but Emily Blunt would have been just a different take.
Right.
Is one better than the other? It's just like, is one comic artist better than the other comic artist? Like it's really just different flavors of the same thing, really. She's the only one that I'm like, or Ruffalo is the Hulk. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, he makes it his own, which is what you want. But rewatching The Incredible Hulk recently, I'm like,
that's a better Hulk.
that's a better Bruce.
Bruce, yes, correct.
Far. I don't care what anybody says about that film. That is the better Bruce.
It also doesn't help that what they turned Bruce into in the later MCU films.
Yeah.
His like more recent appearances haven't been the greatest.
No, really. I don't know.
Right, like the end game, and like I can't believe that's what they did to him.
Well, you hear the writers didn't know what to do with him. Like, what do we do with the Hulk? Well, I'll just keep him Banner. That's just easier. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Don't have him in the movie at all.
Smash stuff. No.
Yeah. Like
and then like with I've rewatched like a few episodes of She-Hulk, and like I'm just thinking like just to kind of elevate the She-Hulk character, the Hulk's there to kind of put down. So and it was like, well, I kind of don't want that,
Yeah, it wasn't elevating, it was reducing the Hulk.
Right, so that She-Hulk would appear better, like a better character, which I'm not for.
I almost feel like they should have brought a comic book writer into that show.
Yeah.
I liked it at the time, and I know we talked about this at length,
Yeah.
but it could have been better. I mean, I did
Right.
enjoy it because I enjoy everything, but
Yeah.
it could have been better for sure.
Yeah. The again, the law stuff. You
Yeah.
know, there is an attorney at law story comic book arc
Yeah.
that, you know, you could reference, and he even fights Daredevil there and super short. So, you know,
They probably went too complex. They're like, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Like the show was slow moving at times, for sure.
it was very
Tornadoes.
confused, I
Yeah.
feel like, right? So it had like parts where it was gonna go slow. There's some standalone episodes, and it was just like a very confused show. It came off like that. It wasn't the worst,
No,
and there's some enjoyable parts, but it's just like,
I think another pass at writing.
right,
You know, when
right,
you edit things, like we talked about editing before. Like I'm on my 9th edit of my,
right,
but it needs
right.
a 9th edit. It's not polished enough. Like there's things that aren't clicking, so you need that other edit. If they had another pass, I'm not saying with another writer, could have been the same writers, but you can't
Yeah,
just turn a script in and say, "Oh, this is good enough."
right. And it's sometimes the choices that they make with the script are kind of interesting. I know a lot of it is sometimes like, you know, we're just experimenting, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, supposed to be a full movie. Same thing, I guess, with Obi-Wan. It's supposed to be a whole movie,
Yep.
but the idea to just like, let's chop it all up to, you know, a few episodes,
Yep.
which made it feel now that it's like kind of dragging.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Which, you know, I guess maybe they're one, you know, if it's too long to be a movie, but it's not enough, you know,
Yep.
material to be a show.
Specials
Specials,
work
yeah,
great. And you could
yeah,
have a special that was like 2 episodes long, a 2-part episode.
exactly,
Like, why not?
exactly, yeah,
You don't have to fit into anything.
yeah. And I get it. No, not everyone's perfect at writing, but just seems like an odd choice when, let's say, you have like maybe a 4-hour material, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Chop into two episode specials, done. Rather than, how about let's make 6 episodes out of this and not have anything in between.
Yeah. You guys got any ideas for like a filler episode? What do you think? What could we do? Let's go to a pleasure planet, and we'll have
Yeah,
Jack
yeah.
Black and who's the
Who's popular right now?
yeah, who's
This
popular?
person, yes.
Lady Gaga. No, Lady Gaga's 2 years ago. We need to find somebody a bit more recent. Like, it's just fill in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
blank.
yeah. That's how it felt like. I don't know. Yeah, and then there's like I can't remember. I can't think. The Justice League Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Why is this movie too long? You know,
Yeah.
chop this up. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. There's moments where, okay, that 4 hour, because it worked. Did it work out of 4 hours? Like the Snyder cut? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it felt too long. I mean, the Snyder cut did feel a much more complete movie,
Yes.
because what was shown in the theaters was like
It was garbage.
someone else edited that, and you know, the order has been, so it didn't make sense. The Snyder cut for sure made it more cohesive and made it more a fuller, make it make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, those extended cuts, right? Like, you know, their editing choices are kind of interesting at times because it takes away from the scene. It makes the scene confusing.
Do you like the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay. Do you watch the original cut ever?
Yes, I watched the original cut because that's what my parents had on DVD.
Okay. But if you had the choice, like you've got both DVD or Blu-ray sets or whatever in front of you, which one are you going to pick to watch every time?
I always watch the extended cut. Actually,
Yeah.
we invest in the extended cut.
Yeah, same
Just
here.
because for that story specifically, it's just too long and it's so a rich world. Like I haven't finished reading the book because it's just so rich, and the world is so vast, and so I thought the extended cut was a good summary of that.
Sure. Yes, I agree. Yeah. I only watch it. The stupid thing is I bought the stupid non-extended cut, and then they release the extended cut. I'm like, Well, why the hell would I have bought the other one if I'd known
Yeah.
like, come on, are you out of your mind? And the extended cut is so good.
Right. Yeah. That's
It's
what my parents said. So
wow.
they bought so my dad bought the just the theatrical cut. And then like I think a few months later they released the extended cut, and then he was just like, I don't want to buy DVDs anymore.
Yeah.
Just gave up on that.
I think Prime has all the Lord of the Rings on there, and I think they do have the extended cut too.
Yes. Yeah.
Do your parents have
But
Prime?
regardless, but yes, they do. But regardless, Alex has the extended cut.
Of course.
So you can watch it anytime.
Yeah, I haven't done a revisit to Lord of the Rings in a really long time. I think I'm due. I was listening to oh my God, what are their names now? Billy Boyd and Dominic
Oh
their
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, so just
Side note, did you watch the guy that did One Man Lord of the Rings in the French?
of course I did. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I saw
I was
him
like, to summarize that whole thing
Yep.
in however long his
90
performance
minutes.
was.
90 minutes or an hour, two, maybe
Impressive.
2 hours. Yep. Yeah.
And you could just like imagine the scenes that he's, doing on his own.
Yeah. He's a super nice guy too. I've talked to him outside of
French. Yeah.
I messengered him.
Yeah, and he responded.
Oh yeah. He was like, yeah.
Awesome.
So he shared some stories like how he did one man Star Wars for George
Yes.
Lucas, but no one else was there. It was just George.
Yeah. Did you watch that? That one's pretty good too. I watched his one man Star Wars, and he always made sure he put like the better trilogy.
Yes. The better.
And he had a one man Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah. Saw that one. Did he do
very good?
What was the other? There's one he did that didn't really work, and he knew it wasn't working. And when he was performing, he knew it wasn't working. What was the last one he did? Was it Avengers? Maybe
I don't.
It was something Marvel. I think. You looking it up?
Is it like I'm looking it up. Is it like an Iron Man or?
It was something Marvel, and then you could tell like how I think he was like 20 minutes, and he goes, "Wow, this really isn't working, is it?" or something like that. Like he literally stopped. Well, I'm gonna keep
remember
anyway.
I can't remember what was the new, because like I think I saw that, and I didn't even like. I didn't think we weren't even interested in seeing it.
It was like pre-pandemic or something, I think.
Yeah.
Like just before the pandemic. Anyway, go check it. What the hell's that guy's name now?
Charles Ross.
Charles Ross. And TJ Dahl would direct his stuff. TJ Dahl was the director. I remember that. But anyway, sorry, back to the X-Men thing. So that's not all there was. So the rumor was those three are coming back: Famke, Hallie, and Marsden.
James. Yeah.
They're coming back. But the other thing was, it's like this is to help introduce the X-Men in some way, and there's going to be multiple Wolverines in there. And the other thing that came out, and I think Ryan Reynolds said, he goes, and there's going to be a cameo in there that you guys are not going to see coming. So there was some extrapolation, like, well, what do they mean? So apparently everyone that's listed in the credits is everyone that's been in all the previous movies. So Dopinder was one of the guys, and Peter, the X-Force member who had no powers, whoever, like he's coming back. Domino's coming back. None of them that died. Like there's a bunch that died, right? Like all of us died except for
yeah.
So none of those people are coming back, but like Negasonic Teenage Warhead, whatever.
Yeah.
Yukio, like they're coming back. Colossus is coming back. So everyone's coming back. Even Vanessa's coming back.
Yeah.
They're all coming back. So it's like, okay, this is cool. But the one person who is not being listed as coming back is Josh Brolin.
Okay.
But apparently the rumor is they're not saying he's coming back because they don't want to screw things up. he is coming back, but he's playing Cable and Thanos.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to kill Thanos. Deadpool's going to kill Thanos or something along those lines. That's the rumor that's going around, is that, you know, there's going to be, like, it's not just going to be X-Men universe. There's going to be MCU people coming in. It could be 5 minutes of screen time. It could be 2 minutes. But he's going to be traveling through the whole Infinity War thing, but traveling through the X-Men movies as well. And he's going to be
They should, like, I think they should be better at, like, capping these things, you know? Because I mean, as much as, like, it's cool to, like, see all these, like, theories come true.
Yeah.
The shock value, you know, is like, I live for those moments where I'm like, I'm genuinely shocked. And like, because like with the internet people nowadays, people like read into that so much. And someone's already like compiling like what are the possible like stories here and whatnot, because we heard that this is what's gonna happen. And yeah, like that's where you get like people who accidentally guess the movie.
It's all a swerve, though. Like, that's how I feel. It's running around like, ooh, oh, that's a good theory. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And just kind of feed into it a little.
There are some things that like, I guess like if it's like a part of a long story, I think I have the urge to like, I personally have the urge to like, I need to know what's going to happen next. So I will seek for these things.
Yes.
And, you know, I'll satisfy myself if I'm like, oh, okay, I got the full script, the real script here, and then I'm satisfied. And then I'll watch it and I'll still enjoy it. But it's so much different if you don't know what's coming.
Yes, very much so. I like the stuff that you and I do. We kind of speculate, like, wouldn't it be cool if they did this, or wouldn't it be cool if, like, we don't know. And honestly, like, all these scoopers and stuff and all these and stuff, they're making shit up. Like, let's be honest. Like, I think they're making shit up.
For sure. Or reading too much into it, right?
Yeah. I think they're just guessing right.
The amount of, like, threads that, like, will zoom into, like, oh, look at this corner that's predicting the next movie. I remember that I was entertained for a bit, and then I was like, this is just so much work. But it was helpful for, like, reviewing episodes when I was watching, like Breaking Bad, for example, like a show where there's, like, a lot going on. And I'll enjoy the episode, and then I'll go to the thread because like someone has watched this 50 times and had zoomed in on the corner and like picked up on every you know, Easter egg in the background. And you know, thank you for doing that work, internet person. But I'm just like, these people are insane for you know, picking up on those things and doing all the thinking and researching for me.
Yep. So along the theory of people popping up from, you know, not just at the X-Men universe, but from the MCU as well. I think, I don't know. Here's what I would like to see. This is going to be a personal story for Wade, or Deadpool, right? And a story for Logan, right? I mean, it's still going to be shenanigans, like typical Deadpool shenanigans where he's fucking shit up. But even though Deadpool's always like funny and madcap and kind of chaotic, there's always a deep story to those films. Like, there's always like something sad or something deep. Like, it's not just jokes, right? So I think having Wolverine in there, I think we're gonna see connections to the Weapon X program. I'm suspecting. And I think, and I don't know where the plot's going to go, but I would think that they would explore that a bit more, the Weapon X program. Maybe explore, because Logan is set in the future from where we are right now, right? That we might see the talks of Daphne Keene, like her character, like is 23, like maybe when like she's just a baby and they're starting to develop, okay, we gotta work through kids and stuff and keep the Weapon X program going. Maybe we'll see the Weapon X program from Weapon 1, which was Captain America, right? Maybe we'll see fill in some gaps there, and that does some good MCU stuff outside of the X-Men. So maybe we'll see some of that stuff. There was rumor that Kelly Hu would come back as Lady Deathstrike. we might see that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Stuff like that.
There was never a problem with those characters. Again, it was the writing that was a problem with those movies. The flaw of every X-Men movie was the writing. It was never. I don't think I have ever I kind of don't like this person, but there's a preference of which Beast I like, but it didn't. Nicholas Hoult was not a bad actor.
No, he wasn't a bad act. No, Nicholas Hoult is phenomenal. Like he's really
right.
Like as an actor. But even like Ian McKellen, like he had a lot of shitty lines, but because he's Ian fucking McKellen, he makes those lines work somehow. It's the worst fucking dialogue, but he
commands the scene.
I'm gonna act this, Charles. I'm going to. What are you doing in there?
And they just have a good banter, those two.
Yeah, like they had chemistry, so they could read the phone book and get chemistry out of it somehow.
Right.
And they're buddies, and I don't know, like, but anyway, like the rumor is that McKellen's coming back and Patrick Stewart are coming back as well. But there's also talk that we're gonna get something Weapon X, and if we're getting something Weapon X, are they gonna actually fix the shit with Sabretooth? Or that first movie, like
the whole first movie was just a mess. except
the guy who played Sabretooth, Liev Schreiber, he was great.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Not well written.
No, not well written, but even his look, the way he trained, for his appearance.
Yeah.
Bring that guy fucking back. Like honestly. Or tell the Sabretooth, the Sabretooth story, even though we've seen some Logan was phenomenal and it really capped off a lot of things and explained a lot of things. There's a lot of things in Wolverine's past in the films that have never been done justice. They've been horribly. Maybe they can fix some of that shit.
Yes. And I this is why characters like Wolverine are essential to Marvel. It's very, very important to get a Wolverine, a Captain America right.
Yes.
Because they're critical, like Spider-Man, those are critical characters.
Yep.
And one of the YouTube videos that I've watched, I can't remember which ones, but someone was saying that he thinks that the decline of Marvel or the quality decline is because they're featuring not so popular characters or characters that are sideline characters, side story characters is what he called them, and which don't have as much of depth as the main characters like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Captain America. So he thinks that that's why they're running out of stories to tell. I think it's just poorly written. It's just not the same quality as you got the 3 good Captain America trilogies and you compared it to the other not so good ones. And, I think because those side characters have good stories of their own.
Sure.
Not well liked, it just didn't work because of what story they decided to tell in the TV series or movies.
Yeah, it's just it's all it's exactly what you said. It's all in the writing. Oh, well, this is a really good character. We can't really make this character work. You can make any character work with any stupid fucking name, right?
Yeah.
Groot, stupidest character.
It's a tree. It's a tree. Yeah. It's a walking tree.
Yeah. Rocket Raccoon, horrible character. Drax, horrible character. Yeah. But written properly, anybody can be amazing. It's all in the writing. Look at Peacemaker. What a absolute shit character.
Yes. What an awful person.
Yeah. But it's all in the care, right?
Right. And the boys or Invincible, right? There's so much compelling stories for the horrible characters in those series, but keeps us engaged.
Yep.
Yep. But so it's not about because they're sideline characters, quote unquote, but it's if they didn't pick the best story, had they had picked the best story for Moon Knight, for example, you would have had like a following right away.
Yeah. Yeah, Moon Knight could have been executed differently, I think.
Yeah.
But I guess the main thing that is known is that the movie is going to be the TVA and Mojo World. Are you familiar with Mojo? Yeah, from the Mojo was in the cartoon, actually, the X-Men cartoon.
Yes,
I think
yes.
there's a whole thing there. So because Shatterstar, right? Shatterstar was in Deadpool 2. That is a connection to Mojo World because he was created by Mojo, right? But maybe that gets us a long shot. That also ties into a few things like, so if there maybe Mojo has been kind of doing his TV show, his X-Men TV show, and the shitty X-Men movies that we've had were where he didn't, his writer's room wasn't very good. Mojo's writer's room wasn't very good. Maybe they're going to use Mojo to explain some of the shit stuff. But
did you say they confirmed Mojo World?
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Like and he and Spiral, which is the 6-armed lady, the cast stuff, like they're the main components of that. So maybe the TVA is going to like, like Mojo is making TV shows by creating, maybe he's the one spinning off alternate realities for all his different programs that he has.
Right.
Or maybe he's part of the, I can't remember what they're called, like the time cops or whatever they're called. Like,
you know what I wish? I wish the movies and the TV series are just don't be afraid to show characters that we've never seen.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like always like hesitation to bring, even if it's like a big name character, cast them and then throw them in there and pretend it's normal because it happens.
Yeah.
Make it natural in that way. They'll have their own spotlight, but just make it natural so that your options aren't so limited, right? Because there's like stories that like you could tell they're kind of averting because we want to have like a big Fantastic Four reveal or something and whatever. But I'm like,
save that for their film.
Right. But then just like have the characters naturally appear in that way. Your world is you're not limiting your world because these stories sometimes like we're familiar with them and we know they're there. Make them interact with each other and don't be afraid to do that.
You're absolutely right because there's proof that works with Hulk. They can make a Hulk movie. There's rights issues, blah blah blah. We'll just put him in Ragnarok.
Correct. Yeah.
It worked.
Right. Yeah.
They just dropped him in Ragnarok, and it freaking obviously it worked. It revitalized the Thor franchise, right?
Right.
Vitalized him as a character. It gave a lot to Hulk. Like Hulk had a bit of a revival of that. Like like it did so much. So why not have, I don't know,
just make them naturally appear, right?
Yeah.
Why that was the limit of imagine Multiverse of Madness if he would just run into Logan on the streets in a different world or all of that would have been I don't know, they can have so much more fun if they don't limit themselves because right now what they're doing is like we have to set up everything properly and they will not show up. You will not see a shadow of them, which is somehow hard to explain because they run into the problems where, there's a few Marvel movies where they're like, well, where were you when the world was getting invaded? Yes. Or what were you doing in this? It raises those questions. Like, when the Fantastic Four comes, they'll be like, well, what were you doing not saving the world, Because you can't possibly have gotten your powers out 2025 or whatever, whenever the movie's coming. So I don't know. They'll just be less explaining and just make them naturally show up, and it'll be fine because you don't need to start from the origin movie. I think we're past that stage.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to use the multiverse to explain where people were, or they're just from another, in their dimension. Fantastic Four is the super team, and
right.
The X-Men is the super team.
They could still use that because remember when Loki came out, or when Loki ended rather, we were like, oh, this is brilliant. This is just going to open doors with the multiverse, and so much fun, but they haven't really like played around with it as much as, you know, they should be, or they could, right?
Like Multiverse of Madness didn't do. Like everybody thought, oh my god, it's gonna blow the doors open. We're gonna see all these multiple. We saw like 3 or 4 or something.
Right. Right. And that was it.
Like he
Like,
didn't stop in any of them, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah, there's not much like time traveling. Like, you know, if I were them, like make TVA show up, you know, confuse all these timelines, like make them merge and whatever, and just go crazy with it. And every movie would have been, or show would be like that, right? But I think they're playing it safe, and they're still experimenting what works and what doesn't. They're bringing in new characters, which is, all of these are good in some way, right? I like when people get creative, and I can appreciate the effort into different styles.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think they would be much more successful if they just kind of go for it.
I just had this thought. So if we brought this up actually years ago, potentially years ago, we had brought up the theory, how do you bring the Fantastic Four in? And I had thrown out the idea that maybe the Fantastic Four entered the negative zone, or because they're imaginauts, I think was one term that was given. They're not just going to be dealing with stuff here on Earth. They're going to be dealing stuff in other dimensions. They're going to find gateways to other worlds. Always did shit like that. Or they could be on the other side of the universe at the Galactus, or at the trial of Galactus. Like, they're always doing. They have adventures on Earth, sure, but not just here. So what if they had started in and around the same time as Stark? You know, was when Stark was 21 or whatever.
Yeah.
Reed Richards was 21 too. Say they were both. Maybe they graduated together, and then Reed built the rocket.
Yeah.
And they went, and they didn't come back. They just went on adventures. Get their powers. They're doing shit somewhere else.
So that explains why you weren't in the, you know, big Avengers battles.
But like the other thing too is, if they're going into another dimension, like through some portal, because he had portals at the Baxter building, right? Go through some portal, and there's a time dilation thing, just like in the quantum verse or whatever. And they come back, and they've been gone for they come back 10 minutes later.
Right.
But for, you know, like for them, it's 10 minutes, but maybe it's been years on this side. Like, there's all these things that could happen, that they could exist. Like, they don't have to use the multiversal thing,
for sure,
which is a nice thing. But if they do that with everything as a like, maybe
one thing that I can't remember where I read this or saw this, but one thing that I saw, you know, with the Jonathan Majors thing up in the air, in the event that whatever Marvel or Disney decides to do with him, or if he actually, you know, is guilty of whatever is being accused, that could also be an entry point for Doom. For Dr. Doom.
I like that you're thinking that. You actually read this?
I read some. Yeah. I read some. Like, I'm not going to take credit for that, but you know, that would have been like sucks for the actor, but like if there are awful things that are done, and Disney has been clean with that, that might not be a bad, you know, entrance for Doom. And that would it would still line up with Secret Wars, right? It would still line up with Secret Wars and all of whatever was planned. And, you know, they could have the Jonathan Majors do a few more movies, and then, you know, pull the curtain and be like, haha, it's Doom all along.
The original plan was not to do a Kang Dynasty movie. It was just to do Secret Wars, but based on his performance, based on performances outside of the MCU, but based upon what he did with Loki, they're like, holy shit, like, this guy is like phenomenal. He is a great actor. Like,
he's really good.
Of whether he's guilty or not guilty or whatever, he is a phenomenal actor. He is really that. I think when they saw his acting, they're like, this is Chadwick Boseman level of talent. And Chadwick Boseman was unique. He was like his command, like he's fucking amazing. And in all the films he did before, James Brown, he did Jackie Robinson, like this is no lightweight actor. This is a once in a generation kind of actor.
Correct.
I think they felt the same thing with him. So they're like, okay, you know what? He was so good in this. He stole every scene. Let's build everything around him. So I think they had a plan before he came along,
right,
of a whole bunch of other stuff they were going to do. And maybe it was Doom. Maybe it was, we're going to lead up to Secret Wars. We know Fantastic Four is coming. The X-Men are coming. Like they were planning this thing. And then Jonathan Majors comes along. They're like, holy shit.
Right. That works.
Do something with him.
Yeah.
We could, but so I think they still have a plan.
Right.
That was there beforehand, which they could fall back on, which probably wasn't a bad plan.
Sure. Yeah. But I would like them to, have 9 edits or 10 edits of whatever they're writing, rather than just rushing it, because we don't want another like episode 9, start.
I think that we need to have a t-shirt that says 9 or 10 edits.
Correct. Yeah.
How many times have we called that out?
Yeah. Shouldn't be that hard, but I know there's like pressure with the company deadlines and whatever, but like they should also just be okay to like, we can move this, and moving it doesn't mean that it sucks.
Yeah
Well, it just means that we want to make it a little better.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. In the old days, oh my god, they're going for reshoots. Fucking rights, they're going for reshoots. They
better be. Yeah,
they better be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This didn't work. When we put everything together and we looked at it, no, this doesn't work. It's not working.
Well, I guess it doesn't help that there are movies that did reshoots where, Snyder Cut, for example, we did reshoots, but I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened with this? Solo, episode 9, right? There's like, because their plan was revolving around Carrie's or Princess Leia, right? Like that was the because you did Han Solo the first episode 7, you got Luke episode 8, and their plan was episode 9 was going to be about Leia, but so they shot a bit and reshot stuff, and that's what we got. But yeah.
I think I like that they're taking time, and then there's the writer strike that's going on, right? And then there's talk that there's going to be, this is only the first one.
Correct. Yeah.
It's going to be like a director's one. There's going to be, I don't know, some of the other, like maybe it's the graphics people.
Yeah.
So, but Marvel's just saying, okay, we're just waiting.
Yeah.
And they're not going to try to push date, like keep the dates they have. They're not going.
Yeah.
They're not. Why? Like, so what if we get a pause? We had a pause during the pandemic.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have a pause and then and I know, well, the actor's getting older, but a 50-year-old actor nowadays is not the same as a 50-year-old actor like 50 years ago. At 50 years old, you were dying. Like,
and it's not like they've never used like a 30-year-old to play a teenager or something,
exactly.
Like I don't know how old was Tobey Maguire when he was playing Peter Parker.
I think he was 47 years old, was he? No, just kidding.
Always been like 40 the whole time.
Yep, exactly. But I don't know. I'm excited that they're taking the time they need. Like that's what I'm excited about. They're taking the time they need and get that 9th edit in, like you were saying, like just take the time.
Right.
If it's not working, then like with Echo, it's not working. Blade, it's not working. Well, let's just rejig it again.
Yeah, put it on pause. And I think like no one asked them to set up like the next 20 movies, it's they put a pressure on themselves because they love the hype, and they built this like this event where we're gonna hype them up and we're gonna promise this, and I mean like that's like just self-inflicted pressure in my opinion.
Wow, you said it. That's exactly it. That's so true. It's like no one's holding you to do this.
Yeah, you could just say that, the next big movie is Secret Wars. They could have just revealed that. And the movies in between, keep it loose, and that way there's no pressure.
That way, if things change, or if, like, as I know, like, Feige would, like, this is really working. this is really not working. And he was constantly
moving stuff,
adjusting things. Yeah. And like, well, apparently Seth Rollins, he's like kind of one of the big wrestlers now. Like he's in Captain America 4. Then he's doing a Drax like thing where it's like, this guy's really good.
Right.
This guy's like amazing. Like, and they're using him just because this is working. So let's just do more of it.
Yeah.
Like this, it's like improvisation. Like if you were on stage doing comedy.
Right, because you're gonna get some ideas, right? There's gonna be like people that will blow your mind like after their performance in this one thing, and then that light bulb will get triggered, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, we should have done this for this character, and that just keeps it open. But that timeline should just be for them. Like these are the movies that we have planned. But like for the public, you could just say like, this is what we're leading up to, and that's good enough. Like, I think we would all be excited to just hear that Secret Wars is happening. Yeah. But then like 1 year, if they just all of a sudden do, next year Daredevil coming out, we would even be more like
we would be way more excited. I couldn't agree more. Right? That's absolutely true. I don't need to know that something's coming out until a year before. I will be more excited if it's okay. We've started production on Daredevil. You guys are doing Daredevil?
Yeah.
I'd be way more excited.
We would be so much more hyped that way, and they'll have so much more time.
Yeah. Instead, I'm waiting 5 years for Daredevil to come out.
And we're just getting warmed up. Come back next week, and we continue the discussion that segues into Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yes, we've both seen it. We both have a lot to talk about with it. We're also going to cover a little bit of Werewolf by Night, but one particular part of it, and tell you a time-traveling story where you'll have to listen next week. See ya on the flip side.
Thank you for listening. And we'll see you next week. And bye. Have a good day.
Fans of the Sean Geek Podcast, this is the Core Geek talking at you. Did you know that the Sean Geek Podcast has merch available? That's right. Head on over to SeanMcGinnity.ca and click the merch link at the top of the page. You'll be taken to the Sean Geek Podcast store on TeePublic, where you can find the Sean Geek Podcast logo on t-shirts, totes, masks, and more. And best of all, a portion of the sales goes to help support the podcast and allow Sean and Todd to keep bringing great content your way. Once again, go to SeanMcGinnity.ca and click the merch link at the top of the page. And while you're there, don't forget to download the latest episode.